Well, thank you so much for coming. My name's Chip. I'm helping Edwin out with this campaign, which I absolutely predict will be a successful one. Certainly with your help. Well, a lot of things to go around. Thank you to each of you, not only for coming, but for giving a crap. You know, there's important stuff going on out there. It's real easy to put your head in the sand, say somebody else's problem, or they'll figure it out, and I don't matter. You do matter. In this election in particular, which I have deemed this the signature election in Washoe County. Because with this election, we can turn the county to Democratic leadership instead of Republican leadership. We can remove one of the biggest obstacles and threats to our democracy and a well-functioning commission. And I'll let Ed talk about that a little bit more. But I also need to thank the state legislature and our governor. Ask me why.
Why?
Because they redrew the lines.
I know.
And they gave us a candidate.
Right.
Because Ed wasn't in this district until after that redistricting. And it's really important. We're very fortunate because Ed's the kind of guy, in my own view, as a candidate, and having been witness to many elections now, you know, there comes a time when the right candidate shows up at the right time with the right message. And what this redistricting did is narrowed this to a winnable district. There's only a 3% difference between the registration. And interestingly enough, 44% of the currently registered voters here are new. So we've got a damaged and repulsive incumbent. We've got a whole bunch of people that don't even know about her. So the incumbent advantage is a little weak. And Ed's going to get attention. I can promise you that. And the second thing I want to thank is the fact that, that we got out of the redistricting. Those are the two things. So it really changes our life very differently, not only for this district, but for Washoe County. And for those of you that are real wonky, Washoe County's swing in this state and important in this election. How do you know? Because all the big candidates are running their campaigns out of here. So, you know, what you do and your commitment to this election is going to make a difference. I can promise you that. I'm really excited about this election for a lot of different reasons. First off, you know, we've made a commitment in the campaign to speak the truth. You know, this is who Edwin is. He's not afraid to be bold. He's not afraid to call people out when he thinks they're wrong. He's not afraid to listen hard enough to find out he's wrong and then change his tune. But you're always going to know where he's going to stand. And you know, that's the type of politician that didn't normally get much attention in the past. Everybody wanted everybody to be nice to each other and, you know, can't we all just get along? This is not the time for that.
Right.
It is not the time for that. Edwin is exactly the type of person, human being that we want. Honest, he loves his family, he speaks rural, he grew up in Battle Mountain. He's well known in this area by a lot of people. How many people have read his columns in the past? There you go. I've read a few of them myself. So anyway, you have an opportunity to make a difference. I just want to remind you, as in my role in the campaign, there are a lot of opportunities for you to help. I can tell you as a political candidate in the past, you know, the smallest donation gives you energy for the next day. A good word gives you energy for the next day. A show of support and willingness to walk alongside, to knock on some doors, gives you energy for the day. And this is a marathon. This is a marathon. So, as Paula knows, who's worked this whole district in several campaigns, this is a huge, huge district with a lot of work to be done. And so, with that, Edward's got some good words to share with you, and Edwin, go for it.
Thank you, Chip. I am so overwhelmed that you are all here. I could not have dreamt of a better turnout. Local elections really matter, don't they?
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit, if you'll indulge me, about hope and despair. I don't know about you, but when I watch 40% of our country believe the lie that the election was stolen, I feel despair. I am upset. I don't know what to do about it. I tell people that I meet that I never wanted to be a politician. Nobody believes me because I like to talk. I want to be a rabble-rouser. I love that. I want to write and bitch and complain. It brings me pleasure, like it may do for many of you. When I saw what Jeannie Herman did on the Washoe County Commission, I could not stay silent. I couldn't sit there anymore on the sidelines. I couldn't wait for somebody else to come in. Democracy is going to be won or lost in our entire country right here at the county commission level. The conversations I've had with you in the last 5 minutes tells me that other people feel the same way. And I am, really encouraged. So when I say I feel despair, this is what gives me hope, is that you are here and you know that a commission race matters. We're 6 months out from the general election. I have no primary opponent. I had one. She is lovely. She does yoga. She came here. She dropped out and endorsed me. Yeah. I won my first election without a shot clock. We have to be together on this. I want to talk just a little bit about where I came from. Most of you have known me. I see a lot of friendly and familiar faces, some new ones. I grew up in Battle Mountain. I spent my entire year, that my buddy Arch there. We went to high school together. I was there, wasn't I? Okay, fair enough. There's evidence. I joined the Coast Guard like so many rural kids. Joining the military gave me that direction I needed. I came back to Nevada. I settled in Reno. I've been here for 20 years. I teach community college English. 3 weeks ago, I stepped back from a tenure track opportunity to teach, and I'm taking a leave of absence because this election is the most important thing in our lives right now. I know that they say that every year. They say that the election is the most important thing. I want to talk about why. And again, it is all about the big lie. If we cannot have a democracy and an election where somebody wins and somebody loses, we no longer have democracy.
Right.
The democracy is being attacked here in the county by our neighbors, by people that we know, and some people we like. We cannot tolerate it. We can't fight about it. What we have to do is just outvote them. So that's why I need you. I want to talk just a little bit about the commission. The commission has such important work to do. Don't you all agree?
Yes.
Yes. You all live in the district. I hear you tell me the same things. In my time asking people what is going on, I hear the same things. Jeannie Herman doesn't return phone calls. Jeannie Herman doesn't care. Why? They don't care because all they want to do is propose these preposterous culture war issues, fight about an election that is now a year old, and continue to tear apart our communities. Our communities are being torn apart. Families are being torn apart. Friendships are being rended because we cannot recognize fact from fiction. I will say one more thing on this topic, and I promise to move on. Great claims require great evidence. There is no evidence of voter fraud. There is no evidence of this. The people at the top that are pushing this down to the local voters, they know very well that they're full of it. They know it, but they do it anyway because they want power and they want to tear our communities apart for donations or Twitter fame or any host of ridiculous reasons. And the only thing that can stop them is to outvote them, and we're going to do it right here in Washoe County in November. Once we win this election, we're going to bring sanity back to the commission. We need more police in this district. We need more services. We've grown. We've not added a cop. We don't add firefighters. Why are we building if we can't provide the basic services people need to live in this community? Why do we let people come here and build houses and get rich and loot the community and refuse to put the money back into the community where it belongs? Because that's small government for you, folks. I want to say one more thing is I am going to continue to talk about the big lie, but the work on the commission is really the most important. Political consultants tell me things. If any of you are in the room, I am sorry for what I'm about to say. They tell me, Ed, we shouldn't talk about the big lie, or we shouldn't get so upset about democracy. People want to hear about policy. Is that true, folks?
No. It's not.
Does anyone give a damn? Does anybody even know what policies, other than you in this room? You're all very well and knowledgeable, but the average person doesn't know. All they know is what they see and hear and the constant lying. And I'm going to bring a stop to it. I'm going to change it. We're going to bring competence back to government. So
Yay.
thank you, and thank you all for coming. Before I want to thank my family who are here. This is my wife, Joy. My daughter, Eleanor, my son, Ray. And I got a lot of friends here. I can't thank y'all. Y'all know who you are. Many, many friends here. My campaign manager, Chip. See him if you want to give him checks. That's good. Chip told me when I started this, I had to hit up all my family and friends for money. I found it unseemly. I guess that's campaigning. We're going to do it different. We're going to raise the roof. We're going to raise the specter of this race. I'll tell you, people really understand the importance of local races now where they had not before. I really mean it, that this is where democracy wins or dies. It is not in the Senate, which is dysfunctional and broken, or the House of Representatives, which is a train wreck. This is where everything happens at the county level, and it is the most important race of this year. And I thank you for coming, and I want to open it up if anybody has a question.
I have a question.
Please.
So, I do believe we fight at local level. I know the GOP planning to attack a local level of government. Not just the commissioner, but the school board.
That's a good point.
Because we have to know the school board. Because if you live on No Valley area, you want to live in District C, you gotta vote for Joe Rodriguez. Because his opponents are named Mary Sultan. He supported a big lie at 2020 election. He spoke in a Washoe County Commission, a meeting about the big lie. And also, he wanted to run a school board meeting to unseat Joe Rodriguez. So we keep important to vote Joe Rodriguez on primary June, get the 50% plus one vote.
Well, Pablo, thank you very, very much for that. And yes, again, Pablo, it's a great point. You see what's happening at the school board. You see the lies that are being told, where they're calling people traitors. Did anyone go to the county commission and testify against the voter suppression law? Thank you very much. I was there too. That also gave me hope. So many people came and they stood up and it was voted down 4-1. You all know about Jeannie Herman's voter suppression law.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soldiers at the polls, paper ballots which would cost millions and take weeks to count. A preposterous, illegal, ill-advised, stupid, foolish, ugly, heinous, awful thing. And we've got to put a stop to it. Dave Mulligan.
First of all, Mr. Lyngar, I'd like to thank you for your service in the Coast Guard.
Yeah, well, no problem, my
And
friend.
I'd like to point out, a lot of people, we don't talk about this enough, but ever since you joined, there was not one coastal attack. So thank you for that. Now, secondly, I'd like to say that this is a serious subject. You talk about the big lie, and we know a lot of the people that are perpetuating the big lie as part of their campaign, one of their main planks. Sometimes it's their entire approach to running on the big lie. And we know they're full of shit. We know that they're lying, right? But the voters, are they voting for them knowing that it's bullshit? Or are some of them being duped to believe that stuff? And what do you think the ratio is? What are those voters thinking? Are they believing the big lie, or are they doing it just to retain power for the Republicans?
I'm glad you asked that. And I honestly, I said I grew up in Battle Mountain. I have another thing to say, which is my entire family are all Trump supporters. Except for my immediate family. Not you guys, not you.
Ray.
Ray, say it. I really do believe that a lot of them buy it. I know people in my own family who I know and love, and they're wonderful people. They're kind people. They're caring every single day. They hear lie after lie after lie. If you really thought your democracy was stolen and that some nefarious cabal of people had defrauded the entire government, maybe you would get mad enough to attack the Capitol, right? They are being fed this. There are people who really fundamentally believe it, and I think there are a lot of them. But I believe that 0% of people who are really running for office believe it. And if anybody does believe it, that disqualifies them from holding office. If you were that obtuse, Nevada was won by over 2 points for Joe Biden. It was not even close. There was nothing like the voter suppression it would take to do that. Again, great claims require great evidence, and there has been none.
Zero.
Zero. So, and you all know it. And this is a foundational aspect of this campaign. And again, the political consultants, there's debate. Should Democrats do this? Should Democrats stand up for democracy?
Yes. Yes,
Well, then
they
let's
should.
stand up for democracy. Let's see it. No more big lie. It's destroying the country. Any other questions? Yes.
So I appreciate all the talk about big lie and fighting for democracy because it's vitally important, and I recognize that at the local level, this is where we make it happen. But I'd like to hear you talk a little bit about what you want to accomplish on the county commission.
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Thank you. And I hear a lot about development. You all hear about development?
Yes.
Development is the biggest issue. I want to tell you something. I love these kids. I want them to buy a house in Reno. It breaks my heart that they might not be able to live in this city because the prices have gotten so extreme, and there is a lot of tendency for people, I don't want to build here, I don't want to do this or that. We're going to need development, but we need smart development. And development has been badly mismanaged for several reasons. The biggest one is that infrastructure must be included in all development. Also, water has to be taken into account. We need a zero-escaping mentality like they've developed in southern Nevada. We are water challenged here. Yet we also have flooding. How is it that we have flooding in the same place we don't have any water? Because we don't have any sewage treatment plants, we don't have water, we don't have the infrastructure to turn the water that we do have into something that can be irrigated or drank. All of these things there are resources and there are solutions, but they're not meeting one another. And I see this time and again. I get so tired of people telling me, we don't have the money for this. We always have the money, don't we? When it comes down to it, we all saw how easy it was to find the money when it came to COVID and things happened. All of a sudden, we can support children. We have free lunches right now in the schools. I would like to see that continued. That has been such a great thing for families. And I'll tell you what, it's not just about the money. The kids get a good meal. It's convenient. These are the kind of things I want to head up. And I really want to start with development, but also this idea of the police and firemen, which have been drastically underfunded in a way that serves the community. Do you have anything else specific you'd like to?
No, I just kind of wanted to hear you talk about a couple of campaign points. And
You betcha.
What I can look forward to hearing from you when you're on the commission.
Well, and I think that you all know the commission is now 3-2 dominated by Republicans. Everybody here as well. I am the third vote. When I win, the commission can take a radically different direction. We can stop being in the pocket of wealthy people and developers and start to do what needs to be done for the community. Sarah.
Thanks for calling on me, Ed. I want to just hone down on something that Ed already said. We are one of the top 7 swing counties in the nation. That means people are calling me as county party chair from MSNBC News and wanting to talk to me next Monday. And they are watching how all of us are going to be voting and what that means in this midterm, commonly Democrats don't show up, election.
Right.
And that's what we need to show Washoe County, Nevada, and the nation. All eyes are always on Nevada. We're a test state for how much they can get away with. And we want to show them in Washoe County that we can win this district, we can flip this district. We're all paying attention because it also overlaps Reno Ward 4, and we can flip that district as well. And we can maintain those seats on the city council because local elections matter to Washoe County voters.
Yes.
And Edwin Lyngar is going to prove it to everybody. So thank you.
When I win this district, we win the state for Catherine Cortez Masto.
Right.
If this district wins, she can't lose. It really isn't mathematical. I mean, we get this district, it really does matter.
Doesn't it?
Got a question over here?
Yes, Kim?
When you win, and you talk about the, prioritizing certain things, specifically with the Reno Police Department, what are you looking to do? Like, how are you gonna interact?
And that would be the Washoe County Sheriffs, because they're the
Okay.
ones, and they're the ones that have been underfunded and serve most of the county. Now, I didn't talk about my whole biography. For 15 years, I was in a law enforcement agency as a public information officer. I served at the Nevada Department of Wildlife. I've taught at the Post Academy. I understand the needs of law enforcement and the fact that they've been chronically underfunded for many years. And, you know, they don't have to be, because there are priorities. There are ways that we fund the county services and EMS and those things, and they've just been starved. And again, it's always this idea that we don't have enough funding. I know that the funding is there. And again, every time somebody builds a house, anytime we put in new stuff, this is where the requirements need to be put in place. There's been a little bit of that. You all go out there, you know, you go on a road and there's a ditch on either side and it's an old country road. Then you get to the middle of a development and it looks like the city. Why is it the last mile between these developments and our own communities are chronically starved for funding? This is the kind of thing I'm going to target. And particularly getting more services. There's not been another sheriff added in the last 4 years. I just read, you know, and the sheriff we have, Balam, he seems like a good guy. I don't know him well, but we're going to sit down and. Do you all realize that the sheriff's department is under the purview of the county?
Yes.
And that's why it's different than the city police. So thank you for that.
I have a question. In some communities where I've lived, when a developer comes in and wants to put up 3,000 houses, they say, okay, you're gonna pay for a school and a firehouse and this access road. Are we not doing that?
You know, we're not, and I would say I'm reaching for an analogy, but it's not reaching me yet. There's this thing like in Nevada, we feel we're not good enough. Listen, I grew up here. I was a kid in the rurals, 40 acres. We just are so grateful when anybody comes to town and they want to build something. We give them the farm, and we always have. It is a history and a culture. It is the culture that has to change, Jeannie, and the culture will change with me on the board.
The government's demands on these, conditioning these developers.
Our
Not gonna
government,
do
our
it
culture,
until-
yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. You know, it starts with the leadership. And again, the leadership doesn't care. They're obsessed with other things. They all want to fight about culture wars, and they want to talk about CRT, who nobody can define, except some of us who've been in education. I know there's some educators here. We can talk about it. It's all distractions. And again, it is this feeling that they come in, they give some campaign donations. That's enough. Not for me. No, we're going to make these demands. Yes, sir. Please.
So it's tied to some of this stuff, but I want to know your philosophy on this tax abatement fever that Nevada seems to have, that Reno seems to have. That bring in the companies because they're going to promise these jobs. Well, everyone's hiring here.
Right.
Jobs are not an issue. Okay?
We-
Tax
yeah.
dollars are an issue.
I think this is exactly related to the same culture of we're just so grateful somebody comes here and they open up a business.
So you're anti-tax abatements.
I am anti-tax abatements, hardcore. You're standing in my business. This is my yoga studio. Nobody gave me a tax abatement to open a yoga studio because I lived here 20 years. Nobody cared. Yet some out-of-town swell, if I may, comes in and opens a business and we shower them with money. Tesla, 1.5 billion, right? Wasn't that the number? And, you know, I understand that there's a lot of different feelings about, you know what, I'm not going to be careful. I don't care. I'm not going to be careful. We're going to have these people come in and build these giant stadiums. This is okay too, but at the same time, people need to pay their taxes. We need to build the roads. If we let these people come build this, just like we did in Tesla, now our roads are crowded and we got no money to do it, so it comes back on us, the taxpayers. No more tax abatement. We don't need to lure people here. This place is fantastic. This is the other thing that drives me nuts, right? Beautiful quality of life, great climate, and we're begging people to come here so that they can overcrowd our roads and not fund our
So
services.
you're saying that you would vote on any proposed tax abatement, any big company coming in? No.
Any tax abatement? I don't like absolutes. Anybody like absolutes?
No.
Any? Like if there's, I don't know, what do they got? I mean, maybe they're gonna give us something else, but generally 99%
We're
yes.
starving for tax dollars.
I agree 1,000%. And yes, you're right, and I fundamentally agree with you, and I'm not for tax abatements at all. I would just never say absolutely no. Would you ever say absolutely no to anything? But
Well, absolutely not.
I have a question, Ed.
yeah,
I have a question about the commission's authority. Is it under the commission's purview to set standards for new construction with regard to renewables? Can you say
Absolutely.
anything that's built here should have solar panels or some infrastructure to support that?
I have specific planks I'm working on, and I will say that this is specifically xeriscaping, green building. I just had a nice long talk with the Sierra Club about this very issue. I think it is absolutely critical that we have energy neutral as much as possible, right? And you all agree, right? We've got solar, we got all kinds of different ways, and we can have green construction from the ground up, protect from wildfires in other areas of the county. We need to require that the building here meets the needs of the people here, doesn't add to a warming environment, which is killing the planet, and it's killing us. Did you all read about the snowpack today? The last few, okay, I'm a little obsessed with the water. We're gonna have another bad snowpack and another bad, every year, it goes down every year. We need to start thinking about a warmer environment today, and that's gonna include those things for development. Yeah, and I think they can be required, yes.
Yeah, it is, you mentioned policy. It's hard even to get policy matters on the agenda because the warfare is all about cultural, it's all cultural warfare. It's voter suppression, it's big lie, it's reproductive loss of rights, it's trying to control education so that no one might be offended. How do we actually get to talk about policies in this climate that is so hostile and negative?
I have a great answer for you, Greg. Elect me! I will flip the commission. Think about the commission with 3 Democrats in charge instead of 3 Republicans. We will not have the same problem. There will be a seismic shift. This is the most important race for this reason, Greg. And I agree with you, and I'm gonna throw this out, news, I was endorsed 2 days ago by Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
I haven't put out the press release, but I'm proud of that, because we have to stand up for women, we have to push back against the culture wars. Yes, Tina, I totally agree. We need to talk about these bread and butter issues and water. At the same time, we can't let these culture war issues continue to go unanswered as we have. Like, we're afraid. I'm not afraid. We're gonna say that's bullshit, pardon me.
Good.
Right? We can't have it. So, thank you for that question. I think we'll do maybe one more. You wanna, go ahead.
I'll go ahead. So, as a GOP, new plan to attack LGBTQ by usually saying, you are passing a new law saying don't say gay bill. That happened in Florida. It can't spread out of the United States. If a Nevada GOP win to flip the House or the school board, flip the school board, we know they're trying to attack LGBTQ by non-existing history, try to use them.
I agree with you 100%, Pablo, and I am an ally, my friend. And I think we should all be, and I think that's probably it. I'm gonna stick around. We got lots of wine and cheese and things. If anybody wants to talk to me, I'm available. Again, I just wanna thank you all, each and every one of you, for coming today, because local elections do matter, and I can't win it without you. So thank you.